Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to come on here and do a quick comparison of the Trussardi Donna Eau de Parfum and the Trussardi Donna Eau de Toilette. I first purchased the Eau de Parfum and loved it, and then I knew I had to try the Eau de Toilette. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick comparison here. But before I start, I wanted to say a quick mention, quick hello to a YouTuber here called Marcelina Teresa. And she has an amazing channel, amazing collection, perfume collection, and she's just overall an amazing person. I really enjoy watching her videos, and she has a deep love as well for Trussardi Donna Eau de Parfum, and she's actually the reason that I picked it up, and I'm super grateful to her and her suggestion. I really enjoy it. This is the EDP version right here, this gold cap. And then the silver cap here is the Eau de Toilette. So I'll start off by saying that the bottles are incredibly beautiful and the price point on these is incredible as well. Each of these, I believe I got under $50. I think I spent maybe $42 on the Eau de Parfum, and then the Eau de Toilette, I found a really good deal on FragranceNet, and I think I only spent about $35 on this bottle. These are both 3.4 ounce fluid ounce bottles, and they're in these really beautiful heavyweight bottles that are in the shape of kind of like a flask, I think. And this is the Eau de Parfum, and this is kind of an opaque, can't see through to the liquid, but it is a really beautiful heavyweight bottle. Has that metal plaque on each side, and the cap is a really heavyweight metal as well. And the same thing goes for the Eau de Toilette, similar packaging, but except this one, obviously, you can see through this one. It's transparent, you can see through to the juice. There is that beautiful silver plating on the side, and again, you have a really heavyweight cap on the top as well. Even though the bottles are quite heavy, you can pick them up by the top if you need to without worrying. And yeah, they're just really beautiful bottles, beautiful packaging and design by Trussardi. So yeah, let's get into some comparison and contrast. And the first thing I want to say is that when I first smelled the Trussardi Donna EDP, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a beautiful, fresh scent, but I started really loving it as I wore it more and more, because I was able to start kind of uncovering the nuances in it, which I'll get into a little bit later. And yeah, it's just such a beautiful perfume. It's something that I think I'll always have in my collection from here on out. And I highly suggest checking it out if you haven't tried it already. So the Eau de Toilette is something that I just got last week. I've been trying it out. I obviously haven't tried it as much as the Eau de Parfum, but I have gathered some of my thoughts, and I will give you, this is my untrained untrained nose and my opinion. I don't know notes very well. However, I do know what I kind of like and what I don't like, and I go by that. So yeah, so the EDP, in comparison for me to the EDT is a little bit sweeter and softer, and it's a little bit more rounded, in my opinion. So the top notes that you have are yuzu and Amalfi lemon. The heart notes are jasmine, African orange flower, and lotus. And then the base notes are vanilla, sandalwood, cedar, and patchouli. And the beginning, when you first smell it, or when I first smell it, I get that beautiful, refreshing, sweet, zesty yuzu and Amalfi lemon. And the opening is very bright and uplifting. It's not bitter, it's just extremely refreshing. And then it slowly kind of moves into a semi-sweet, very gentle, but not heady floral note. And I do think that that's the jasmine and lotus flower in there. It's definitely more of an aquatic floral. It's nothing too heavy. It's just really still along the lines of that light and refreshing feeling, overall feeling. And then I would say that the EDP and the EDT, I wouldn't say it, but it's true. The base notes of the EDP and the EDT, they share the same base notes, that vanilla, the sandalwood, the cedar, and the patchouli. But I do find that in this eau de parfum, the EDP, the vanilla is a little bit smoother and it's a little bit sweeter in the dry down. And this is perhaps why I prefer the EDP version over the EDT, but I guess it kind of just depends on your preference and your mood. They're both really lovely, and they do actually end up drying down in the deep dry down, like maybe a half hour later or an hour after putting both of these on. You will notice that they're quite similar, and maybe in a blind smell test, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. I think the main differences are in the opening and the mid, and even the early dry down. It's the deep dry down that they become more or less the same fragrance. Yeah, so overall, I would say that the EDP is a bit softer. It's a bit more floral leaning, and it still has that citrusy kind of fresh vibe at the top, but it's less bitter and a little bit less sharp than in the EDT. So yeah, EDP, that's kind of my description and comparison for that. Moving on to the eau de toilette. The eau de toilette is a little bit sharper, cleaner, and fresher. And when I say sharp, I don't mean it in a negative way. It just, the sharpness kind of lends to that clean, fresh quality that it has. So it opens up at the top with yuzu, melon, and citron. And then the heart notes are jasmine tea. So that's different than the eau de parfum, which was jasmine flower. And this one has jasmine tea in the mid note. You have orange blossom, and you have lotus, as well as you have lotus in the eau de parfum. The base notes, like I said before, that's the same as the eau de parfum. You have vanilla, sandalwood, and cedar, and patchouli. And when I first spray this, I get that really bright citrusy yuzu and citron on top, and it is more prominent here. That citrus note is a lot more prominent here, and there is a bit of sharpness to it. Little bit of bitterness, but nothing unpleasant. And then there's like this beautiful jasmine tea note that's in the heart. And you do get that tea-like quality, really refreshing, beautiful tea-like quality in the heart. And that to me is slightly bitter, just because tea, like if you steep tea, it does become a little bit bitter, but in a really pleasant kind of uplifting way. So that jasmine tea note is definitely prominent in the eau de toilette, whereas in the eau de parfum, you have the jasmine floral note. So yeah, so that's the jasmine tea note. And then I would say, so they share the same base notes, that vanilla, sandalwood, cedar, and patchouli. But I would say that in the eau de toilette, the woody notes are a bit more prominent, whereas in the eau de parfum, you have the vanilla note, the sweeter, kind of smoother vanilla note that's more prominent. The woody note is a bit more prominent here in the dry down. Overall, I think that the eau de toilette is actually a bit stronger, whereas normally an eau de parfum is stronger. But the eau de toilette in this case, to me, is a bit stronger, mainly just because of the sharper, fresher citrus tea-based, it's a citrus tea-based fragrance. So therefore it is a bit stronger, especially on first spray. It's worth noting again, and I think I said it before for the eau de parfum, hopefully I did, the deep dry down, as they both mellow down, as the eau de toilette mellows down, it does become a lot more similar to the eau de parfum in the deep dry down. They are still different fragrances, but again, in a blind test, I don't know that you'd be able to tell the difference between the two. Whereas in a blind test, if you first sprayed it in the opening and mid notes, you could probably tell the difference. So is it necessary to have both? Probably not. But I really enjoy both. And I do think that they're slightly different. And if you enjoy the eau de parfum, I do think you would enjoy the eau de toilette. And I mean, the bottles are just so beautiful. Not that that's a reason to buy anything, but sometimes for me it is, I'll admit. Yeah, just overall, They're both really beautiful scents. It just depends on your preference. If you like kind of a softer, more floral leaning fragrance, then I would go for the Eau de Parfum. And then if you like kind of a stronger, fresher, zestier tea-based fragrance, then I would go for the Eau de Toilette. Or if you're me, you go for both and you just keep both. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of my rambly review, comparison, and contrast of these two fragrances. I really enjoy both of them, and I highly recommend if you can get a sample or get a tester of either of these two, I highly recommend it. Worth checking out. And again, I hope you guys go check out Marcelina. She's a wonderful person and an amazing reviewer of all things fragrance. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.